Ethan blinked in disbelief as the massive shapes moved through the trees. The tigers were enormous, each the size of a small truck, their sleek, armored bodies rippling with muscle under glowing stripes. Riders sat atop them with perfect balance, their glowing eyes scanning the forest. They were aliens like the one he had saved, but larger, stronger, and exuding power. The lead rider, the alien he had helped the day before, gestured for Ethan to come closer. Hesitating only a moment, Ethan stepped forward. The tigers stopped their heavy steps just a few meters away, sniffing the air and watching him with intelligence in their amber eyes. Ethan felt the weight of their gaze. This was no ordinary tribe. They moved as one, perfectly synchronized, yet each had its own authority. The alien he had helped reached out and placed a hand lightly on Ethan's shoulder, a signal of welcome, reassurance, and respect. Then another figure appeared from behind the riders. Ethan froze. She was beautiful and regal, her skin shimmering in soft blue like moonlight on water. Her markings were intricate and glowing, much like the alien he had saved, but hers were more elaborate. She was clearly of high status. She dismounted her tiger, moving with grace, and walked toward Ethan. The riders parted to give her space, and she stopped a few meters away. Ethan noticed a small smile on her face. She tilted her head slightly, observing him as if judging his worth. Her eyes glowed softly, but there was kindness there. She raised a hand in a subtle gesture, pointing toward him. The alien he had helped nodded, and Ethan realized that she was their bride, a gift of honor, offered because he had shown courage and compassion. Ethan's heart raced. He had expected the tribe to be angry, perhaps even attack for trespassing in their land. But this was something else. It was a gesture of respect he did not fully understand yet, but the meaning was clear. He had done something important, and the tribe was acknowledging it. The bride took a few steps closer. She spoke in her melodic language, which Ethan could not understand, but her tone carried meaning, invitation, trust, and an expectation that he would respond. The alien he had saved repeated some of her words, adding gestures, helping Ethan understand. She wanted him to ride with them, to share in their journey, and to prove himself worthy of their trust. Ethan took a deep breath, nodding carefully. He stepped forward, letting the bride see that he would accept their gesture. Slowly he reached out toward one of the tigers. The animal did not move, its massive head lowering slightly as if sensing Ethan's intentions. With guidance from the alien he had saved, Ethan climbed carefully onto the tiger's back. His heart pounded as the muscles beneath him flexed and shifted. The tiger gave a low, rumbling sound, not threatening, but a reminder of the raw power he now rode. The bride mounted her own tiger, elegant and steady, while the rest of the tribe organized behind them in perfect formation. They began moving through the forest, and Ethan felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The tiger's steps were powerful yet silent, moving over roots and rocks with grace. Ethan looked around at the forest, seeing it in a way he never had before. Every plant, every shadow, every sound seemed alive, connected to the tribe and their animals. As they traveled, Ethan observed the interactions between the riders. They communicated with clicks, melodic sounds, and gestures, coordinating perfectly. The tigers responded immediately, turning, jumping, and weaving with astonishing precision. Ethan realized this was more than a tribe. It was a community bonded with nature, each member understanding the others and their world deeply. The bride spoke to Ethan again, using gestures this time. She indicated that they were going to take him to their homeland, a place hidden deep in the alien forest, where he would meet the elders and learn more about their ways. Ethan nodded, though his mind raced with questions. How did they live? How could such a society survive in this harsh environment? And why did they trust him so completely after only one act of kindness? Hours passed as they traveled. Ethan became more confident on the tiger, learning to feel the subtle shifts in its muscles and movements. He spoke softly to the alien he had saved, asking questions and receiving answers through gestures and melodic sounds. He learned that their tribe valued courage, intelligence, and compassion above all. Strength alone was not enough. By helping the injured alien, Ethan had demonstrated qualities they admired. Eventually, the forest opened into a wide clearing. In the center stood a village unlike anything Ethan had imagined. The structures were built high among the trees, connected by glowing bridges and vines. The tigers moved freely, blending perfectly with the village, and aliens of all ages and sizes moved about, each displaying the same glowing patterns on their skin. Children ran along bridges, elders observed quietly, and hunters returned with prey, all moving in harmony. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. The tribe had brought him here not just to honor him, but to test him, to see if he could adapt, understand, and respect their ways. The bride guided him down from the tiger, leading him toward a circle of elders who waited silently. Their eyes glowed faintly, deep with wisdom and authority. The alien he had saved stepped forward, bowing slightly. "This human saved one of ours," it said in clicks and melodic tones, "and he earns our respect. He comes in peace." The elders studied Ethan carefully. He bowed respectfully, keeping his hands visible and open. "I mean no harm," he said simply. "I only help someone in need." A moment of silence passed. Then the eldest spoke, his voice deep, resonating with authority. "Compassion is rare even among your kind," he said. "You have acted not for reward but for the life of another. That is why we honor you." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had never thought one small act could carry such weight, but here it was, recognized, respected, and meaningful in ways he could barely comprehend. The bride stepped forward again, presenting a small gift, a delicate necklace made of glowing crystals and woven vines. It was a symbol of their tribe, an acknowledgement of his bravery and kindness. Ethan accepted it carefully, feeling the weight of their trust. Over the next few days, he learned more about the tribe. They taught him how to communicate through gestures and melodic tones, how to move silently through the forest, and how to bond with the tigers. He discovered that their society was built on mutual respect, loyalty, and connection to nature. Every action mattered, every choice carried consequences, and every member had a role to play. Ethan realized that humans had something unique to offer. His creativity, problem-solving skills, and ability to act with compassion were qualities the tribe valued highly. He began to see himself not just as a visitor, but as someone who could contribute meaningfully to this alien world. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned shades of purple and gold, the tribe gathered around a large fire. The bride sat beside Ethan, smiling softly. The alien he had saved leaned close, speaking softly in melodic tones. Ethan listened, understanding bits and pieces through repetition and gestures. They were sharing stories, traditions, and history. He felt a deep connection forming, not just with the tribe, but with the alien he had helped and the bride who now shared his journey. The night was filled with music, laughter, and the soft sounds of tigers moving around the clearing. Ethan watched the stars above, feeling a sense of wonder he had never known. He had come to this planet expecting danger, solitude, and challenge. Instead, he had found friendship, respect, and a place where his humanity mattered. As the firelight flickered, the bride leaned closer. Her glowing eyes met his, and for a moment words were not necessary. Ethan understood that this was more than survival. It was trust, honor, and connection. By helping one alien, he had changed his life and theirs forever. The tribe had shown him that courage and compassion were universal languages. And as he sat among them, surrounded by the soft purring of tigers and the melodic sounds of his new friends, Ethan knew he had discovered something extraordinary. He was not just a visitor on this alien world. He was a part of its story, and they were a part of his. He would face challenges in the future. There would be dangers, tests of strength, and decisions that mattered deeply. But Ethan no longer feared them. He had earned the respect of a powerful tribe, ridden the majestic tigers of their homeland, and formed bonds that transcended species. And in the quiet moments before sleep, as the fire burned low and the alien settled around him, Ethan smiled. He had given water to an injured alien, and in return he had gained an entire tribe, their trust, and a journey he would never forget. The city never slept, and neither did its shadows. Neon lights flickered over crowded streets filled with humans and aliens alike, each trying to make a living, each trying to survive. Among them moved Lyra, a small alien girl with greenish skin and large, shining violet eyes that reflected the world like mirrors. She was barely 14 by alien standards, though she had grown up fast because the streets demanded it. Her thin frame darted through narrow alleys, over piles of discarded tech, past the occasional hover car, and under the watchful eyes of security drones. Lyra had learned the rules of survival early. People ignored her when she begged or scavenged, except when they were cruel. She had no home, no family, only the small bundle of clothes she carried and her sharp mind. Hunger gnawed at her constantly, and the city's noise never stopped, but she had learned to move like a shadow unnoticed, blending in with the throngs of citizens. That evening, she crouched behind a holographic billboard advertising the newest hover bikes, scanning the streets for scraps or unattended food. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. Survival required patience more than instant gratification. As she leaned forward, her eyes caught a glimmer on the polished street, a small, sleek object reflecting the neon. Lyra crept closer. It was a wallet, but unlike any she had ever seen. It was made of smooth, metallic material and had faint glowing symbols on the edges. Curious, she picked it up. Opening it carefully, she found several identification cards, a handful of valuable credits, and something that made her freeze for a moment. A tiny device containing encrypted diplomatic codes. Lyra's first instinct was to keep it. Food and shelter were always scarce, and she could sell the wallet to someone, maybe even get a few days of security or credits enough to eat. But then her eyes lingered on the small picture inside the wallet. A human man in formal robes, standing in front of a massive embassy, smiling politely. Something about his expression tugged at her conscience. She closed the wallet and tucked it under her arm. Keeping it could make her life easier, but she had learned one lesson on the streets. Honesty mattered, even if no one noticed. If this man lost his wallet, he might be in serious trouble. The codes inside could cause chaos if they fell into the wrong hands. Lyra had a choice, and against the hunger and fatigue, her decision was clear. She would return it. Finding the diplomat was harder than she imagined. The streets twisted like a labyrinth, and security drones moved with sharp precision, scanning for unauthorized movement. She remembered seeing him earlier in the day, leaving a towering embassy with several assistants trailing behind. Quietly, she followed. Hours passed as she navigated side alleys, hid behind market stalls, and avoided patrol bots. Every time a security drone came too close, she pressed herself against walls, holding her breath, hoping they wouldn't detect her strange alien presence. Finally, the grand towers of the diplomatic district loomed ahead. The gates were massive, lined with guards who watched every entrant. Lyra hesitated at the entrance. The doors were transparent but reinforced, showing the lobby inside sparkling and clean, full of humans and aliens moving in organized paths. She took a deep breath. Survival on the streets had taught her courage. She could do this. Sneaking past the guards required patience. She noticed a small maintenance door slightly ajar near the side of the building. Slipping through it, she found herself in a narrow corridor. The hum of the building's systems vibrated under her feet. She moved like a shadow, silent and unseen, until she reached the main hall. There, sitting at a reception desk, was the diplomat, Jonathan Creed. His presence was commanding but not threatening. He looked tired but kind. Lyra approached slowly, making sure not to draw attention. When she reached him, she hesitated. "Excuse me," she said in her soft, almost musical voice. Jonathan looked up, startled. He blinked, and his eyes widened as he took in her alien appearance. Lyra handed him the wallet. "You dropped this," she said simply. There was a moment of silence. Guards nearby stiffened, unsure how to react. The diplomat leaned forward, eyes studying her carefully. "You found this?" he asked, his tone mixing disbelief and curiosity. Lyra nodded. "Yes, I found it on the street. I wanted to return it." Jonathan's brow furrowed slightly. He had seen street children before, but never an alien so small, so composed, so certain of herself. His instincts told him she was trustworthy, though her appearance made others uneasy. "Thank you," he said finally, reaching for the wallet. "You did the right thing." Lyra expected that to be the end of it. A simple nod, a polite smile, and she would turn and vanish into the streets. But Jonathan surprised her. He leaned back in his chair, considering her. "You've been through a lot, haven't you?" he asked softly, almost to himself. Lyra shrugged, unsure how to respond. She was used to people ignoring her suffering, but here was someone actually acknowledging it. Jonathan glanced at the guards. "Leave us for a moment," he said. "I want to speak to her." The guards exchanged looks but obeyed. Alone now, Jonathan studied her. Lyra, feeling the weight of so many eyes in the past, now felt something unfamiliar. Attention, genuine attention, not fear or disgust. "You have courage," Jonathan said. Most people would have kept the wallet. Why did you return it? Lyra thought about it. Because it was the right thing to do. It doesn't belong to me. Maybe it can help you, but keeping it wouldn't help anyone. His eyes softened. You have a rare quality, honesty, courage, and brains. You're not just surviving. You're making choices that most people wouldn't even consider. Lyra felt a strange warmth at his words. No one had ever complimented her like that. No one had ever seen her as more than a street urchin, an alien nuisance. Jonathan paused, then leaned forward, his voice lowering. I want to invite you somewhere. Somewhere safe. Will you come with me? Lyra blinked. Safe? She asked. Yes. Dinner, he said, a faint smile on his lips. You will eat properly and we can talk. I want to know more about you. The word stunned her. A human diplomat inviting a street alien to dine with him in his grand embassy? She had no words at first, but her stomach growled and the promise of warmth and safety was too tempting to resist. She nodded. As they walked to the dining hall, Lyra noticed the stunned glances of staff and visitors. Whispers followed them, but Jonathan ignored it. You see, he said quietly as they walked, the world doesn't always notice the brave or the honest. But sometimes it should, and sometimes I like to make sure it does. Lyra's mind raced. This man, this human, was unlike anyone she had ever met. He didn't treat her as a beggar or a curiosity or a nuisance. He treated her as equal. That was something she had never experienced. In the dining hall, the table was set with holographic displays of food from across the galaxy. Lyra had never seen such abundance. Her eyes widened as she was served dishes she didn't even know existed. Jonathan watched her quietly, making sure she was comfortable, making sure she had a chance to eat without fear. As they ate, they talked. Jonathan asked about her life on the streets, and Lyra told him cautiously at first, then with more confidence as she sensed his genuine interest. She spoke of the harsh winters, the empty nights, the moments when hunger was almost unbearable. She spoke of small victories, finding food, avoiding danger, helping other children. Jonathan listened, never interrupting, his expression thoughtful. You have survived in ways most could not, he said finally. And yet you've held on to your honesty. That is rare. You could teach many people about courage, even the richest or most powerful. Lyra felt a mix of pride and disbelief. No one had ever said such things to her. Usually people dismissed her, ignored her, or laughed at her. But this man, he seemed to see her. Dinner ended, but Jonathan didn't send her away. There's more to life than survival, Lyra, he said softly. You have potential, I see it. I want to help you reach it. Lyra's heart pounded. Help? From a human diplomat? From someone she had only just met? It sounded impossible, but she couldn't ignore the sincerity in his voice. As she left the dining hall, escorted by a smiling staff member, she realized something incredible. For the first time in her life, she felt hope. Not just a dream or a wish, but real, tangible hope. Someone had seen her courage, her honesty, her value, and wanted to nurture it. Outside the embassy, the neon lights of the city didn't feel so harsh anymore. The shadows seemed softer. The streets, while still dangerous, now held the possibility of change. Lyra knew her life was about to shift, though she didn't yet understand how far it could go. She slipped back into the streets, careful to remain unseen, but with a small, rare smile on her face. For the first time, she felt that maybe she didn't have to survive alone. Maybe, just maybe, the world had noticed her. And somewhere in the Grand Embassy Tower, Jonathan Creed smiled as well, knowing he had made a choice that would change not only this young alien's life, but possibly the course of many others. The night was still alive with sounds, lights, and endless possibilities. But for Lyra, for the first time, it felt like the night was waiting to be conquered, not feared.